All right, yo, what's good, Tar Heel Nation? It's your boy, Tornado Cray, one half, the captain of the Hooligan Express, and one half of your North Carolina Tar Heels Live podcast. And unfortunately, my co-host ain't here. He's got to be at work, and he may be able to join us. He may not. He doing his thing. So if he can slide in, he'll slide in. If he can't, hey, he's doing his thing. But guys, let's go ahead and talk about what happened last night. Last night's game versus California, and I'll be honest. That was the best game the Tar Heels have played all season. I can't deny it. Defense looked a whole lot better. Offense definitely still looked stagnant, especially through the middle half of the game. Overall, it was especially the start. We start off with a fumble, go ahead and give California 7 off rip in the first 2-3 minutes of the game. I'm like, oh God, here we go again. It is not looking good for the boys. But overall, I I'm disappointed because they had a chance to win. And they put themselves in a position to win. Side note, sorry this didn't go up last night because it was like 2:30 in the morning. And I see why my co-host, why he says he does not like the late West Coast games, because watching that game and then having to do this right off rip, trying to do this right afterwards, very tiring, very tiresome. But guys, again, when I look at this game as a whole, it was the best game North Carolina has played all season. Now, what that stands for, and I'll say it was definitely the best game defensively. Offensively, it still looked the same, because when you look at the stat line, Gio Lopez, 19 to 35, 167. I mean, he didn't have any interceptions, but didn't have any touchdowns either, with a 65 QBR. Benjamin Hall, he had a day, going on 14 carries, 68 yards, had a touchdown. Davian Gauss, he went for 6 carries, 31 yards. Damon June really struggled this game. 4 carries, only 10 yards. I don't know what the issue is, and I don't know if the game plan was to get Hall and Goss more involved, but it definitely was a struggle to see that. Kobe Paystor balled out on 6 catches for 100 yards. And then Jordan Ship, he didn't have much of a lackluster day. 4 receptions, 19 yards. And we all know what happened to Nathan Leacock. 2 catches, 18 yards, but unfortunately had the fumble right at the end. And Nathan, bro, if I'm being honest, in that situation, just cut it. Dude made a hell of a play. I can't lie. Dude made a hell of a play. That's one of those things where I know Leacock, he's feeling bad about himself. He's like, if I drop my shoulder lower, if I cover it up with like my hand and my wrist, or if I actually run harder and whatnot, that fumble probably doesn't happen. But it's one of those things they've been teaching DBs, when you're coming through, if you have a shot, if you have a chance to punch the ball out, you got to do it. And he knocked the ball out at the perfect time, right at the 1 yard line, right before Leacock broke the plane of the end zone. So I'm like, damn. Because that was going to be a game changer, honestly, momentum shift on the road in Cali. You're struggling since the first quarter, and you come back and you do your thing. And especially because we go down, we score a touchdown, and we get the 2-point conversion. We get the ball back. We drive down the field. We have a chance to score and go up. It's looking like finally things are going the Tar Heels' way. Like they're finally putting it together and knowing how to win. It would have been a scrappy win, no doubt. It would have been a very scrappy, very hard-earned win. But I'll say it would have looked at, man, listen. Bro, that fumble, oh my. It hurts because it happened at the very last second. But my co-host, he ain't wrong, man. That fumble definitely hurt my heart. And it happened at the very last second. Like, you can't knock a fumble loose any later. Any later. It's just right there, right before the plane. You're sitting there thinking North Carolina's finally about to just score and go up and get a win, a hard-earned win on the road, especially against a tough California team who I have to give credit where credit is due. I've told y'all this. I thought California was going to be at the bottom of the ACC this year. I didn't think anything in California. They are now 5-2 overall with 2-1 in the ACC. I have to give California credit where credit is due. So to me, this would have been a really good statement game for the Tar Heels to win, because it's like, all right, now we're getting back. Now I see the foundation being built. Now I see the process showing, because you can beat a team like Cal who potentially will compete for the ACC title. It's like, but at least this game showed progress in the right direction. Oh, for sure. 100%. This team, this is what fans, donors, higher-ups, when Bill and Lombardi say trust the process, this is the type of game they want to see. This is the type of game they want to see. You may lose the game, but you were there to win it. Like, one play here, one play there showcases that, hey, yo, we easily could have won this game. This is a trust the process type of game. This is the game where you can come back and say, hey, yo, we got the pieces. We have the personnel. We had the play calling. Trust the process. It's going to turn around. And people be like, you know what? I can see that. You're not wrong. I can believe that. I can see how you want us to believe in what you're doing. Because in first few games, let's be honest, guys. Them first few games versus Clemson, UCF, TCU, ain't look too bad. This is honestly the best looking the Tar Heels have looked since the TCU game, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, this is the best looking the Tar Heels have looked since the TCU game. I'm not counting Richmond or Charlotte, and we've all said Charlotte was not a good look. Richmond, I expect you to look like that. So this was the best looking in my mind on their end. And overall, because think about it, you held, yeah, it's facts. Like it's just the fact of the matter, because you held Sagapolutele to 200 yards, 209 yards, and 1 TD, and a 44 QBR. You held their rushing game, Kendrick Raphael, to 22 carries on 81 yards. Their best receiver was DeJesus. Obviously, he had 13 catches for 105 yards and a TD. But the simple fact that Kobe Paystor honestly matched him on 6 catches for 101, hey, that's a great day. That is a phenomenal day. Will Hardy balled out, leading the team in tackles with 7, had 3 solos. We had a few pass deflections. Tyler Thompson had 2 sacks, and so I'll give him shout outs to Tyler for getting those. And we did not have an interception. I don't think we had a fumble recovery in this game either. I don't recall one. Probably not. Yeah. You did call DeJesus going off. You did call DeJesus going off. I can't even front. You said he would be our biggest threat. And I think what happened during that, there were multiple times I didn't like when we had California in a 3rd and long situation and they just let DeJesus or whoever in their receiving core just go right over the middle. Like right over the middle for a big first down. I'm just like, bro, that's backbreaking. There was one play for certain. Kamori House had a beeline blitz right up the middle. I want to say it was like 3rd and 15 in the first half. He had a beeline blitz, and all he had to do was get his hands up. Man, that QB slings it right over Kamori House's head on a dot for a 15-yard first down and over the middle. I'm like, and the way it looks, because Kamori House just stays down. If he just lifts his hands up, it's a pass deflection. But because he doesn't, now that's a 15-yard completion because it's right on the money where the receiver's going. It wasn't even behind him. It was right on the money because we had ran I think a cover 2 in that situation because the middle was wide open. I was like, oh my. I was like, bro, you either got to get that sack or you have to get your hands up. It hurt. There were definitely some missed opportunities there. There were some missed opportunities. Like it easily, that was a game that easily could have gone North Carolina's way. And I think if North Carolina has the same offensive output that they did in the first and the fourth quarter, in the second and the third, that game changes entirely. I can comfortably say that. If they have that same offensive output throughout all four quarters instead of just the first and the last, essentially trying to play catch up, this game changes in of its entirety and they can win the game. They easily could win this game. I'd say 28-21, 31-28, because California probably would have responded. And it's like that. But I do think North Carolina could have won this game. And so I'm personally proud of how they showed up. They looked like a team that took 2 weeks to prepare for California. They had a bye week and then came back and was like, you know what? Hey, we have to turn it up. The block is hot. Everybody's asking for us. Everybody's sitting there getting on Bill's neck, Lombardi's neck, like all the coordinators, all the players. You got commits decommitting now because they're like, oh, North Carolina ain't what I thought it was going to be. North Carolina ain't looking good. So you have to go out and make a game like this and prove that when you say trust the process, you're really doing so. You're really doing so, and it's looking like that. And okay, so yeah, we forced 2 fumbles. We did force 2 fumbles during the game. We didn't recover them, but we did force 2 fumbles during the game. So that is a good thing. I do remember that now. Because I was like, I don't think we recovered. Yeah, this is overall, I'm not upset about this game. I would say this game, it slightly helps Bill's situation, but it definitely doesn't make it worse. It doesn't put Bill in like a kerosene-soaked chair of a hot seat. It helps him a little bit. Now, winning this game would have helped cool a lot of tensions because you would have shown, okay, we can be a top team. We can be a power four, a good power four team, at least based off record. And it's interesting to see how the rest of the season is going to play out, because if this North Carolina team can play the rest of the year, they can steal some games in the ACC. If this North Carolina team is the team that's like, all right, this is where we're building our foundation on for the rest of the year. We are going to do this, but better. This is the team that people were like, okay, you can go 500. You can get 5 wins. You can somehow make it to a bowl game. Because that North Carolina team I saw last night has the potential to make a bowl game. It showed the talent is definitely there. For sure. For sure. Last night showed that, hey, North Carolina does have the talent. When you put it all together, North Carolina can go toe-to-toe. North Carolina can be, honestly, one of them teams that's like, hey, yo, you ain't just about to walk all over us. This ain't the North Carolina team that played Clemson. This ain't the North Carolina team that played UCF. This ain't the North Carolina team that played TCU. This ain't even the North Carolina team that played Richmond and Charlotte. That was a different team I saw last night. That was a team I saw that was hitting and for all intents and purposes knew how to wrap up and tackle. Now, I will say this. I personally, and you know how I feel about this, Rice, I personally really wanted Max to still start this game. Gio still looked somewhat sporadic in certain aspects. He almost got his receivers killed quite a few times. But Gio was making better reads as the game got on. But early in that game, he looked shaken, sporadic. He was setting his receivers up to get killed. I remember the one swing pass he threw, that corner read it from Jump Street and just blasted. I want to say it was Hall who caught it, but he just blasted him behind the line. I was like, bro, you You about to get somebody hurt out in these streets. You about to get somebody hurt out here, bro. And you can't like just do that. But it comes with the territory. Sometimes you put the ball in certain places, and sometimes defenses just read it well and they set it up. But I say all that to say Gio looked better. He looked better. I'm not going to say he looked great, but he looked better than what I've seen him in previous games. He looked like he took a step forward. The offense seemed like they took a slight step forward. The defense took a big step forward. I will say that. Defense took a big step forward. Offense took a slight step forward. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, what happened? Oh, apparently they covered the spread. They were 8.5. They were 8.5 point favorite underdog, so they covered the spread. So shout out, hey, that's a clap. I'll give them that. I'll give North Carolina that. Good job on not getting beat by more than 8. Shout outs to that, because it was looking spooky for a good little minute. Because the score was 21-10 at the end of the third, and I was like, uh-oh, this is about to blow wide open. I really thought that. And it just was not looking good. But they fought. That's the thing I will say about this. North Carolina fought this whole game from start to end, even when it was looking bad, even when it looked like every other game they played against a Power 4 opponent, it looked like North Carolina wanted to win this game. They were fighting to win this game. They weren't fighting just to survive. They weren't fighting just to skate by. Shout out to Benjamin Hall for a solid performance at running back. Oh, for sure. For sure. I brought him up earlier because 68 yards on 14 carries and a TD. That was a great performance by Benjamin. It really was. And I don't know if it was in the game plan to push Benjamin more, because as I was speaking on it earlier, but it just seemed like him and Goss were the ones they were going to, because Damon June, again, like I said earlier, only had 4 carries for 10 yards. I don't know if they just said, you know what, June's getting stopped, let's go with the other running backs, or if it was already in the plans to go with Hall and Goss, and June was going to take a step back. Maybe they sat there and saw, like, you know what, bro, we're the older ones. Damon June's been carrying us in the running back room. We got to step our game up. And that's a potential answer. Sometimes when you see your young bull on the team carrying the workload and carrying the weight, you're like, hold up. No disrespect, but we got to step our game up. We got to do better. You've been doing great, dog. Don't get me wrong. We got to do better, because you shouldn't be having to do this. And I potentially think Hall and Goss had that mentality of, yo, Damon is carrying us right now. What are we not doing? What are we not doing as a team? We got to get better. We got to step up. We got to do our part, because we're supposed to be the top dogs and senior leaders here in this running back room. We shouldn't have to rely on our freshmen to do it all. We shouldn't. Because, yeah, we shouldn't have to rely on our freshmen to be sitting there carrying the load when we're here and we've done this and we've been here. It's cool that we can. It's phenomenal that we can, but we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. So, definitely want to give shout outs to him. Oh, shout outs to Shenard Clower, too. 3 catches on 33 yards. He was our second top receiver. Shout out to him, bro. I haven't heard much about him this season. Shout out to Shenard Clower, like, having a solid day. So we got, because 3 catches for 33 yards, that man was getting 11 yards a catch, so, or at least 11 yards per reception. Whether it was before or after catch, he was getting it. So I got to give him credit where credit is due. He did have a fumble, though. I mean, there it is. We had 3 lost fumbles. There, you know what? That's the big, there it is. There it is. 3 lost fumbles. That hurts us. Now that I'm seeing it and remembering it. Like I said, y'all, it was late. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was watching it. I was doing my best. I stayed up for most of the game, but like there were definitely some parts where I'm like, hmm, hmm. Not even gonna lie to y'all. But 3 lost fumbles, Leacock, Goss, and Clower. That hurts because that's a -3 in the turnover margin because we got 2 fumbles, but we never recovered them. They recovered all 3 of our fumbles. Can't win a game when you're -3 in the turnover market, or you're usually not going to win a game if you're -3 in the turnover margin. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing there. And based off everything, this was a pretty even matchup. More even than I anticipated. Probably more even than my co-hosts anticipated. I don't know. What do you did this game go how you thought, bro? He probably ain't gonna comment quick enough. And if he does, appreciate him. Because I didn't think this game was going to be as evened out as it turned out to be. But I'm happy that it came out that even and that smooth, and just overall, it looked to be like a really good game. And going forward, as we head into Virginia next week, I'm ooh, wait a minute. That's 18 ranked Virginia. And they giving us an 86% chance. If we keep it close, we can do something. If we keep it close, we can do something. I'll say that. If we keep it close, we can potentially do something. But Virginia is currently on a roll. They opened the season losing to NC State, but since have won, beating William and Mary 55-16, Stanford 48-20, FSU 46-38, and Louisville 30-27. Wait. Who did Louisville just beat last night then? Because Louisville beat somebody that was ranked last night. Oh, they beat Miami last night. Okay. That's what it was. Oh, man. ACC about to get wild, bro. Because if you got Virginia who beat Louisville, but Louisville beat Miami, bro, this ACC season is about to get wild. But regardless, needs to say all that. We got Virginia on Saturday next week. We're playing at home. So, barring everything, also, shout out to Peso getting some shine this week. For sure. Louisville was on Miami neck all game. Bro, I heard Carson Beck threw 4 picks. I saw that. I said 4 picks. I was like, oh, God. And they still, I think, did they barely beat them? I don't think they barely beat them. Hold up. Because I saw that. I said, wait a minute. Yeah, they barely beat them, even though Carson Beck threw 4 picks. How? I don't like that. Louisville. You could do better. 4 picks, you could do better than that. But back to the Tar Heels at hand. I think. If the Tar Heels can somehow upset Virginia, Miami's defense stepped up in the second half. Okay. Because I was about to say 4 picks. Like, this shouldn't have even been close. But I think if the Tar Heels can somehow beat Virginia, that can springboard the Tar Heels like process, momentum, commitment, and recruits. That can springboard them with a lot of momentum and get a lot of buy-in to the team. That can end a lot of debates. That could end a lot of talk, at least for 2 weeks. We know you're clearly unranked. We know you've been struggling. We know you've been just all over the place. The 4th pick sealed the game. I saw that 4th pick, and I ain't gonna lie, I don't know where Carson was throwing. Because I looked at it, I was like, bro, there are 3 defenders down there all undercutting this. And the way he threw that pass, it was more of just, it was kind of like how Aaron Rodgers throws a Hail Mary where he just throws it up and arcs it down rather than leading, bro, as long as he could go. And just be like, okay, it's either you catch it or I'm just overthrowing you. Also, Miami hasn't allowed any points off turnovers. Really? Damn. I did not know that. I did not know that. That is shout out to the defense then. I am credit where credit is due because that is, they have not allowed any points off after turnovers they've given up. Wow. That is, hey. Shout out to that Miami defense. That's why they were ranked number 2, I guess. But I do think if North Carolina is able to upset Virginia, that can shake a lot of momentum in North Carolina's favor, especially in Bill's favor. You at least can get calmed down you're definitely calm for a week heading into that Syracuse game. Maybe 2 weeks because you got Syracuse and Stanford. So you'll be like, all right, well, we beat Virginia. Or Beck was playing hero ball. That's what happens when you get your car stolen once you get to Miami. You try to be the hero in situations, in a lot of situations, then you don't need to be. But I will say, beating Virginia is a double-edged sword. It can either relax everything or it now raises the bar because it's like, all right, you could beat Virginia, but especially if they lose to Syracuse and or Stanford, it'd be like, you could beat Virginia, but you can't beat Stanford and Syracuse, who are unranked. But you can beat them. So it could do one or two things. Like beating Virginia could do a great thing for North Carolina, or it could actually be a bad thing and a setup because if they lose other games, then it's like, but you could beat them. But you could do that. Like, well, what's going on here? And it's going to look just flat out just atrocious. Beating Virginia will lower the volume on new coach talk and the low quality talent rhetoric. I can see that. I definitely can see that. Oh, hey, I didn't even notice that this whole time. Did not notice that this whole time. I know somebody probably peeped it at the bottom. It was like, wait, what? Oh man. Oh well. But I definitely could see that it'll lower the rhetoric. It lowers the volume on new coach talk and the quality until the next loss, depending on who the next loss is too. Because like I said, if they lose to Syracuse or lose to Stanford, it's gonna be like, all right, bro, what's the deal? You can beat Virginia, but you can't beat him. What is it? Which is it? And it's probably going to be more so on the coach talk than the talent rhetoric. The talent rhetoric, I think, will go down regardless because that definitely shows, hey, we do have the talent here. Now it's the coaching. Like, what's the difference between coaching versus this team versus coaching for this team? And it's not going to look too hot, man. It's not going to look too hot. But right now, as we currently sit in the ACC standings, obviously, here's how it is looking. Georgia Tech's 3-0, Virginia's 3-0, Duke's 3-0, SMU's 2-0, Louisville's 2-1, California's now 2-1, Pittsburgh's 2-1, Clemson's 2-2, Miami's 1-1, Wake Forest is 1-2, NC State 1-2, Virginia Tech 1-2, Syracuse 1-2, Stanford 1-2, North Carolina 0-2, Florida State 0-3, and Boston College is at the bottom at 0-4. So we are currently the third worst team in the ACC. Ew. And then, yeah, we tied for the second worst overall record in the ACC. Actually, tied for the third worst overall record because Virginia Tech has one more loss than us. They are 2-5, but we are tied with Stanford right now at 2-4. So there's all of that for you guys. That is our rundown, and that has been the post game for the California game. Again, my final verdict: this was a good game for North Carolina. This was a solid performance for them. Their best performance of the season so far. I will not sit there and say they played bad. They had a chance to win. It was right there in their hands. They played a great game. Defense did a whole lot better. Offense did slightly better than what they've done in previous games. Just need that offensive energy consistently for 4 quarters. And the turnovers definitely hurt us. You're right, Quan. Turnovers hurt. That can't turn the ball over like that. 3 turnovers, and we can't get, especially if we can't get turnovers on defense. Like, we can't force turnovers, but we're turning the ball over. We're not going to win games. Cannot do that. We don't turn the ball over, we're probably sitting here talking about a North Carolina win. Truth be told. But I say all that to say that is where we're at. And guys, y'all already know, please be sure to join us live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. My co-host will be back here. He had to work. He's doing his thing. Boy's making money off his day job, doing what he got to do, holding it down. But he was in the comment section, as y'all saw. However, please join us live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on North Carolina Tar Heels Live podcast right here on YouTube. If you like to listen to us and don't want to see our faces, you can also listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Music, and all other listening platforms that are out there. And with that too, please be sure to also follow us on our own personal platforms. I am Tornado McCray. He is Ricebox _26. You can follow us there if you want more content or just see what we be doing on our YouTubes and stuff like that. However, with that being said, guys, hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Hope you enjoy more college football. And again, peace. Much love to all you Tar Heel Nation. Later days, and we will see you on Tuesday. We out.